boogeyman is real, and you found him.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
I'm your number one fan.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
7 days.
I am Dracula.
We have such sights to show you.
Boy! I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
I am the eater of worlds and of children.
What's in the fucking box?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
One by one, we will take you.
Never get out of bed again!
You gotta be fucking kidding.
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
Good evening, everyone. Hello, horror fans. It is Wednesday, a slice past 7 p.m. Central Time. It means it's time for the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast where you don't need eyes to see. And if you, dear horror fanatic, are listening to us at the top of the week, remember, we do this live right here on YouTube every single Wednesday. So we hope to see you in our bloody live chat. Come on in and join us. This week, we are covering select horror films released November 12th through November 18th. Thank you all so much for joining me. I am JL. I am holding down the fort tonight. Yes, because the rest of the crew is out there busy doing stuff and taking care of things and all kinds of different stuff going on. Some things I can't talk about, but it's really, really awesome. And how about that? We are so close to the end of the year. I mean, doing these shows, because they're like a week ahead, and doing that, it's kind of like the year goes by so much faster, so much faster than you anticipate. Like, you knock out 1 week, you spend all the time prepping for the next week, and all of a sudden a month's gone by, and already we're in November. This is technically like, the second episode of November, and we're almost in, December. It's like, Turkey Day's coming up, and then, Christmas, and then we'll be in 2024. The time just flies. Time flies when you're having fun talking about shit that you love. It really, really does. I hope all of you out there are doing fantastic now that the weather is getting frosty outside. I know it is here. As a matter of fact, the temperature is dropping as we speak. We're going to have a cold front moving in here. It's going to be wet and gross and disgusting tomorrow. So this little show will be a lot of fun before all of a sudden, we got to wrap up and turn the heaters on. But I hope everyone out there is doing good. First and foremost, let's get up that Patreon banner. There they are. Those are the amazing names of all the people who help us to make this show possible. Fantastic people. Love every single one of you. Thank you all so much for all that support. And I see a whole bunch of people in the live chat. So let me see who we've got tonight. I see Raven Darkstar here. We've got a lot of the regulars here. I see Raven Darkstar. Good to see you, who's been here apparently since 4 o'clock EST. Thank you so much, hon. I do appreciate that. Thank you, Raven. And Casey Cooper as well. Good to see you. Says, evening, JL. Thanks so much for being here, bud. Well met to you. As well as NA says, I still know what you did last summer sounds wrong. Yeah, it kind of does in some ways. And there's a lot wrong there, but we'll dive into that, I promise you. But first, we have a mystery tonight. And I'll explain more in just a moment because I have it's weird, I ran into something. I'll explain in a minute. I don't want to spoil too much. Who else we have here in the chat tonight? Let me see. Travis Brown, good to see you. Travis Brown says, evening, y'all, and watch the new teaser for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I did see the new teaser. I have to admit, I don't know where they're going with that. It's almost like, I get that there was a sequel, but it doesn't have the tone of a sequel that I would expect coming off of the last one, because there was almost in the last one, it's kind of like a changing of the guard, but now we've got Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, and I think Sigourney Weaver's coming back as well, so everybody's coming back for it. So maybe this one is the changing of the guard. It's odd. It was almost kind of like they're doing it again. So is it like Ghostbusters 1.5? And the Frozen Empire is interesting. Is an interesting name or Frozen Empire is an interesting name because I almost get like a bridge, like it's kind of like Dead Man's Chest, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Always felt like a bridge film, and it was a bridge film between Pirates of the between Black Pearl and at World's End. So is this a bridge movie to go into a third one so that we can finally say goodbye to the old cast? And I don't know what it is. It feels tonally strange, although it looks really good. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I'm curious. I'm going to say 60-40. 60-40 on the new Ghostbusters. I don't know. So I guess we're going to find out, especially if we get a new trailer. If we get another trailer coming out soon, then we'll get some more information. So, but Ghostbusters are cool. I'm a Ghostbusters fan. I don't know where it's going to go with that. I can't say because I don't know too much about the upcoming production, but it should be interesting. We'll all be waiting with bated breath, especially all of us Gen Zers will be, sorry, not Gen Z, all of us Gen Xers will be waiting with bated breath to see what happens. So definitely. But we got Paul Rudd, we got Carrie Coon, and Finn Wolfhard, and all the cast from the new one, plus the old original cast. So I'm really curious. Yeah, it's a sequel to Afterlife. So I don't know where they're going to go with it. Just very interesting, Very, very interesting. Sherry Tilly, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Says, hey, everyone. Good to see you, Sherry. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight. Sarcasm as well. Says, I can confirm the mountain lions are reincarnated into sarcastic assholes. If that counts as an afterlife, then yeah, Panthers probably do too. Interesting. Fantastic. That's good to know. It's good information to have. Absolutely. Ivy Gentry is here. Says, I'm here. I made it. I survived. Good to see you, Ivy. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight. Do appreciate you being here. Joshua Lee as well. Says, evening, everyone. And Left-Handed Jedi. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Thanks so much for hanging out. We do appreciate you in the live chat. Let me see. Who else we got here? Angel Rivera. Good to see you. Thanks so much for popping in. Appreciate you hanging out. Sir Captain says, no matter what JL has to say, all these movies were virtually unwatchable. No diamonds in the rough this week. TP9000, do your best. I don't know how much I'm going to be busting out the TP9000 this week. I really don't. Now, but there are some good things. I mean, there are, except for one film. One film on this list tonight is unsalvageable. Completely unsalvageable. We'll get into that, I promise you. But the other three, I think there's important things there. I do. Sometimes, there have been a couple episodes, in the past where all four movies have, been pretty, terrible, but that's a very low bar. It's an extraordinarily low bar. But there's one on this list I think is completely unsalvageable. The rest one, I think they all, there's things that we can take away from there. But we'll dive into them. We'll see. We'll talk about them. Let me see who else we got here in the chat tonight. I see. Leanne Richard, Music Magic Macabre. Good to see you, Leanne. Says, hi, peeps. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here tonight. As well as Genova28 says, hey, everyone. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Cindy Johnson. Good to see you as well. Thanks so much for being here. We do appreciate it. Javier Hara is in the house. Says, hey, JL, better late than ever. Or ever than never. But am I really here? I don't know, Javier. Are you here? I know you may be here in spirit. You may be here in body. If you do choose to lurk, it'll be good to know you're hanging out in the bushes. We do appreciate that, bud. Thank you very much. We appreciate our stalkers as much as we do the fans that, come and interact. Craven Mordick is here. Oh, Craven Mordick is in the house. Good to see you. Craven says the Ghostbuster franchise needs to be allowed to die. I could see the argument for that as well. I honestly could. I could. It's pushed on quite a bit. It's a massive mega franchise. I did enjoy Afterlife myself, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I did dig that, and I felt that was kind of a nice way to. I thought if that was going to be the last one, that would have been a decent way to do it because you can hint to the changing of the guard. The old crew came back. We got our nice little fifis on. Our nice little nostalgia button popped with with Egon showing up, and then of course the return of Zool. And Gozer, return of Gozer. So. That was all good. That was fantastic. It was a nice way to kind of like bring things full circle. But now they're pushing it forward. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I can definitely see why some people would think, stop trying to milk it. There's no more to get there. That cow is dry. But, Hollywood going to do what Hollywood going to do. Yeah, I apologize, Raven. I said Z. I meant X. My bad. Letters, they're hard. And yes, a rest in peace to Harold Ramis as well. Absolutely. Yes, Joshua Lee. Oh, let me see. Who else we have here? Tesla Radio here says, good evening, my scary people. Good to see you, Tesla. Thanks so much for being here tonight. And Travis Brown says, I still know what you did last summer as a reggae Jack Black. What could go wrong? Right. What could possibly go wrong? Apparently, lots of fucking things could go wrong. Operation Free World, good to see you. Says, hey, everyone. Good. Thanks so much for being here tonight. All right. So, before we dive into tonight's selections, I do have, well, first and foremost, I do want to state for anybody, because we showed the trailer a few weeks ago, and it was actually several weeks ago. It was back before October 19th, and the trailer was for Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls from YouTube creator and filmmaker, director, producer, writer, actor, Andrew Bowser. And so Andrew is kicking ass and taking names. He's got his YouTube channel, Bowser Vids, and he does, hilarious work. I love it. That character of Onyx is just, hits me right in my feels. I like that content. I like that silly kind of, meta stuff. But his character Onyx, obviously, he got his own movie called Onyx the Fortuitous, the Talisman of Souls, and it had a one-night kind of showing around some areas of the country back on October 19th. Well, it has been released, or he released a video telling everybody or announcing that his movie, Onyx Fortuitous, will be available via Screambox, streaming on Screambox on November 14th. So, a few days from now, and of course, this is going to go out on the 12th. Yeah, so like next Tuesday from when I'm recording this. So next Tuesday, when I'm recording this, Onyx Fortuitous will be available to watch via Screambox. I'm very excited about that. I really love the trailer. The trailer was fucking awesome. And, it's awesome to get the opportunity to kind of support a fellow YouTuber who's been around, who's, a fellow creative type. He's really kicked ass taking names. He's really, he's generated an awesome character. He's a fantastic writer. And I'm glad that we get to get a chance to kind of shout out his stuff here. So, congratulations again, Andrew, for all the success. You've earned it all. And I cannot wait to see Onyx Fortuitous on November 14th on Screambox. Let us know down in the comments below, though, because there's differing opinions on these things. And I've heard from many people that Andrew is amazing. He's funny. He's hilarious. And some early reviews of Onyx Fortuitous were absolutely awesome. And that it was just the perfect kind of like throwback slasher comedy film. And then, of course, throwback to 80s and the shit that we love. From what I understand, there is a sequence in there when Andrew and Olivia Taylor-Dudley recreate the Meatloaf song, the Meatloaf music video, I Would Do Anything for Love, which I'm deeply curious to watch. I cannot wait to see that in the flesh, so that's going to be amazing. But yeah, I'm super excited about it. But definitely let us know down in the comments below, because some people feel the character kind of like wore itself out. But either or, whether it wore itself out or whether you cannot wait for it, I'm very curious to what people think. Like, are you looking forward to Onyx the Fortuitous? Do you have Screambox? Let us know down in the comments below if you plan on seeing the movie, if you plan on maybe picking up Screambox in order to see the movie, or if you're going to wait till it comes out and it's maybe on Tubi. I'm very, very curious. So let us know down in the comments below your thoughts on Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. Fucking awesome title. It's just an amazing title. I cannot wait to see it. Screambox is a subscription service very similar to Shudder, Raven Darkstar. There are many little horror channels out there. Especially, pretty much all they do is stream horror films, and the free ones are like Tubi and Plex. And then you've got your pay ones like Shudder and Screambox and Bloody Disgusting to Screambox. But you've got a number of other ones that pretty much focus on just horror stuff. Screambox is one of those. It's available via Amazon Prime that you can subscribe. I think it's like $5.99 a month, and you could probably get a trial, and you can pick up Screambox on a trial right before the movie comes out. Watch the movie, cancel the trial. They're not sponsoring this show, so do what you got to do, Craven Mordick says, I won't do that. Oh, nice. I see what you did there. I absolutely do. Oh, let me see. Oh, it says, AKA pay, so I can't watch it. Well, you technically don't have to. You can, like I said, you can sign up for a trial. You can sign up for like a 7-day trial right before the movie, watch the movie, cancel the trial. All set. How often? We all do that. We all do that on occasion. I've done that with Disney Plus like at least 3 times. Like at least 3 or 4 times. Be like, oh, this came out, trial, watch, cancel, done. So, or something very cool. You never know what Black Friday deals are going to come along, because Black Friday deals when it comes to streaming services always amazing. You typically you can get them for like a year of the service, super super cheap. So that's always a possibility. So just some ideas out there. You don't have to watch it. I just recommend you watch it. I'll be watching it, and I'll probably talk about it. Insane Angel, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Says, hey guys, good to see you, Insane. Appreciate you hanging out tonight. And I want to make sure I didn't miss somebody. Oh, Leanne Richard says, I watched horror comedy The Babysitter Killer Queen. The sequel to The Babysitter with Samara Weaving. Technically, she wasn't in the sequel until the very, very end, because it kind of picks up after the events of the first film, and then she comes back at the end of that. But the Babysitter movies were actually quite good. I enjoyed them. Travis Brown says, I love Shudder for Joe Bob Briggs. Joe Bob is amazing. If I could get Joe Bob for an interview on Front Row, That would be pretty amazing. I have no idea what I would talk to him about. The guy is just a repository of everything awesome and everything that I love. So it'd be like me referencing the encyclopedia. You know, it's like it's all there. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to make that chat interesting. He would have more for me, and I'd be like sitting there like, yes, talk to me. So, but that would be so cool to sit down and have a chat with him one time. We do have a really awesome front row coming up that I think everybody's going to dig with director Sean Haidt. I think that's going to be really, really amazing. So if you are a member of the Patreon, then you will get early access to that. You get early access to our front row interviews with the people, the professionals who work in this industry. So if you are a member of Patreon, remember, it says in the newsletter that I send out at the top of every single month, you can submit your questions for our special guests. We have a special guest on. We announce their name at the top of every month. Submit your question. You have a question about the industry, question about their movies, question about anything, how to get started, or like what their inspirations were. Let us know. Email them in. Send them in to us, and we will ask those questions during the front row interview. It's always a lot of fun. All right. So I told y'all at the very, very beginning that I had a bit of a mystery, before we dive into to kind of dive into before we get into the selection tonight. So I came across a trailer for a film called The Dead of Night. It has not been released. There is no release date, but here's the mystery. I don't know who directed this. I don't know who wrote it. I know that it's an anthology because I have the trailer here. Okay? But I don't know anything about this film other than this trailer because I went to go look and find details about it so I could tell you all more about it. And I can't find it anymore. I don't, and because my week is kind of busy, I don't even remember where I got this fucking trailer. I think I got it off YouTube. I'm pretty sure I downloaded it off YouTube, but I can't find the channel that it was on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show y'all the trailer. This trailer for this new anthology that's coming out called The Dead of Night. And let y'all enjoy it because I enjoyed the shit out of it and I thought this was going to be cool to watch. And then maybe one of y'all will be able to find where it is. I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep digging to try and find this thing because it's not on IMDb. It is not on YouTube and I can't find it via Google. I'm kind of shocked because it's a mystery. It's like literally a mystery. So please enjoy this trailer for The Dead of Night. I know if I play this trailer, I may get a copyright. I may get like a notification of a copyright claim on the trailer, and that may give me more information. There's a clue. There's a possible clue, but it may not happen. It's hard to say. But please enjoy this trailer for the horror anthology, The Dead of Night.
What is it about stories that captivate us? Throughout the centuries, they've had the power to bring us together. To let us experience our deepest desires. And bring us face to face with our greatest fears. So that was the trailer for The Dead of Night.
and visually you can tell it. I think it looks amazing. I think that there's like something really awesome there. But I have no details as to when this will come out. 2024, maybe late 2023, 2024. I have no idea. I don't know what directors are involved. I don't know what writers are involved. I only have the one clue, and that's at the very, very beginning, and that is the NF, the Narrative Films Productions. I looked up Narrative Films Productions. Can't find anything about it. Not this particular thing. So I have no idea. So I found this trailer, and I don't know anything about this one other than I really hope I don't miss this thing when it comes out. So I give you this mystery trailer for this film that I can't find anything about. So maybe you will do some sleuthing as well. I will continue to sleuth as well to try and find where this thing is, or like, what, I have no idea. But I give it to you. I think it was really, really cool, and I wanted to share it with y'all, so I hope y'all dug that. Absolutely. Sarkaz says, looks like fun, love shorts. I'm totally in. I'm totally in as well. It got me. I love anthologies. Love anthologies, and I cannot wait to see it. Sherry Tilly says, I found the trailer on Jacob Grimm's YouTube channel. I don't know who Jacob Grimm is. I don't know who that is. Casey Cooper says, maybe someone is hoaxing JL. That's a pretty awesome hoax. It's pretty badass. I'll have to give him that. That's a pretty awesome hoax, to be fair. Pretty amazing hoax. Travis Brown says, get Scooby-Doo in the case. Absolutely. I want to know who's under that mask. I absolutely do. Raven Darkstars apparently got a thunderstorm, so if I go poof, y'all will know why. Gotcha, Raven. Thanks for letting us know. And thank you, Tesla Radio. It says, nice to see the Scary Channels previews again. I thought you would dig that. So I went ahead and cut them in, so you get the nice little, and I add a little bit more to the Terror Tube, try and make it a little bit more visually appealing. I hope that y'all like it. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sherry Tilly has posted the link in the Discord channel. Fantastic. Appreciate that. So everybody can find it over there in the Week in Horror Discord. If you are not a member of the Week in Horror Discord, link is down in the description. You can join us over there and hang out with us. And of course, check out when we do watch parties and stuff like that. And of course, anytime we announce it. For those who weren't aware, on Halloween, we premiered the short film Dead End that Johnny O was involved in, that Insomniac Films and Week in Horror put together. So, Grave Mordic says, I'm JB. You're Jacob Grimm? Is this a Spartacus situation? I get a feeling this is a Spartacus situation. But on Halloween, we watched Trick or Treat over in the Discord, but we also matinate it with Dead End, or not Dead End. Sorry, with 11 to 6. With 11 to 6 with Johnny O and Desiree Baldwin and Precious Peck and Sean Michael Beasley. So we showed that short. We showed that short beforehand. So we're going to show it again. So if you missed it on Halloween, you can definitely check it out the next time we do it. Just look for those announcements whenever we put those announcements out for when we do whenever we premiere stuff and show stuff. So. Tony says, I'm Brian, and so is my wife. Nice. Travis Press says, I am Jacob Grimm. We got a lot of Jacob Grimms. A lot of Jacob Grimms in here. And Travis Brown says, I'm mad as hell, and I cannot take it any longer. I get it. I get you, bud. I totally get you. I really do. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming. Oh, let me see here. Thank you so much, Sherry, for posting that up in the Discord. Appreciate that. Tony Regime says, I'm still gutted that my Discord was misbehaving and I missed the films. That's a damn shame, and I don't know what caused that problem for you, bud, and I hope it got sorted out. But yeah, we will show that again. We will show 11 to 6 again. I have no doubt we'll show Dead End again, and watch parties will continue as normal. So I appreciate you hanging out. I really, really do. All right. So we're past Onyx Fortuitous. We have debuted our mystery trailer, which apparently is not so mysterious anymore. Apparently, Sherry Tilly found the link for it, but I'm going to do some investigating, see if I can get some more details on it. But we have some movies to talk about, because we talk about horror movies here. We really, really do. So how about we dive in tonight? Leanne says, I wish I knew that. I haven't watched Trick or Treat yet, and I have 2 copies of it waiting on the PVR. Nice. Yeah, it's one of my favorite. Annual Halloween tradition. We got to watch it. Got to watch Trick or Treat every year. I know everybody's got their own, but for us, it's got to be, we got to watch Trick or Treat, on Halloween night. It's just, it's become tradition. Craven Mordic says, I got a party y'all can watch. Nice, Craven. Appreciate that. Really do. It's always good to be invited first. So I appreciate that. All right. So for our first film up tonight, we got some interesting things to talk about. It's such a shame that I'm alone, because I really wish Eugene had been here, or maybe even Johnny, because their take on this would have been would probably be quite hilarious. But the first film we're going to talk about tonight, November 13th, 1998 is when it's released, and it's the sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. So let's check out this trailer. Let's cue up the terror tube and see what we're diving into.
Come and play with us, Danny.
Mark of the morning through Magic 96.7 radio.
Oh my God! Yes.
Just one magic.
Yes.
Oh, wait, quick, get away.
After what happened last summer,
We are going to the Bahamas.
nobody deserves a vacation more than Julie James.
We have arrived in paradise.
And here, miles from civilization,
So a great weekend.
Yeah, to a great weekend for
she's finally gotten away from it all.
I should have changed that stupid lock. I should have made Julie the key. If I'd have known for just 1 second, you'd be back to bother me. Don't have the lyrics. Hold on. He did something to the screen. It said, "What are you talking about?"
But she can never escape her past.
It's happening again.
Because there are some secrets
There was a body in there. Cool. I am not going crazy. He's here.
Who is here?
and there are some fears.
Hey, Julie, you see any dead bodies out there?
2 summers ago, we hit Ben Willis with our car, and then we threw his body in the water. Can you not tell me the whole story? I'm your best friend.
That will haunt her.
Oh, Brandy.
Forever.
That didn't age well.
That's not possible.
This time,
We're all gonna die! It's gonna kill us one by one!
there's no getting away.
Come on!
Let it go!
If you want me, Ben, come and get me! I'm right here!
He's out there.
I still know what you did last summer. Get hooked again.
NANA says roll credits. Absolutely. Good to see NANA. Yes, that was the trailer for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which is the sequel, obviously, to the original one. And, of course, directed by Danny Cannon and written by Trey Calloway and starring Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., Brandy, Mekhi Phifer, Muse Watson, Bill Cobbs, Matthew Settle, and Jeffrey Combs, legendary Jeffrey Combs, and Jack Black. Jack Black was hanging out in there. It was in there playing the Rastafarian version of Jack Black. It's like beyond silly. So the film picks up after the events of a year after the events of the first film, and Julie has moved on with her life, and she's in therapy dealing with her shit. And of course, she gets an opportunity to go on a vacation with her friends after they win a trip around the radio, and they arrive, and pretty soon all of a sudden the bodies start piling up and things are not what they seem. And of course, if I don't know if I should spoil it, there's a bit of okay, this movie came out in 98. It's over 20 years ago. It turns out that one of the members of the group that has gone with them is in on the whole thing. So that's a half spoiler. It's kind of a half spoiler if you haven't watched this film. But pretty much, okay, so predominantly, I understand why the film was made. The problem with why I Know What You Did Last Summer was successful, and why I Still Know What You Did Last Summer failed, where something like Scream 2 succeeded. Many I would say I would make the argument. Yes, Jennifer Love Hewitt is hot. She absolutely is. I would say that Scream 2 succeeds, where I Still Know What You Did Last Summer did not. Ostensibly because of simply what they're working with. Ghostface being the masked slasher that it is, and giving I would say the writing of Kevin Williamson is really what solidifies that, because it's just better written overall. And I know many would make the argument that Scream 2 is actually better in some ways than the original Scream, because it not only advances the narrative, but it actually gives their characters growth and an arc. We see them progress. And so as they progress and adapt to their trauma and their new situation, the killer must also adapt, so things get more inventive. And there's justification for all of the heightened shit that's going to go down, like all the additional bloodletting, the additional bodies, how much more action. There's reason for everything. The problem with I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, I think, hinges on two major things. One, there is no character growth here. Ostensibly, everybody, like the only returning characters are Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt, and they're playing the exact same characters they played in the first film. There's nothing to distinguish the two of them, so there's no arc. It's not like Jennifer Love Hewitt's character progressed like Sidney Prescott did. Sidney Prescott showed tremendous growth in between the first film and the second film. That was an extremely well-written character. And we see Neve Campbell portray that as someone who is post-trauma and has grown to adapt to that and to work that, to build that into their paradigm and to adjust accordingly to that without losing control of themselves, without losing control of everything and falling apart. Unfortunately, the character, she doesn't do that. She's never given the opportunity. Julie pretty much is the exact same, doesn't really incorporate everything, and is still as kind of myopic and with blinders onto the world as she was in the first film. So there's no adaptation there. So it's essentially not even a sequel. It's like a 1.5. It's basically just a revenge rip off the second one, and the characters really don't do anything. They don't exhibit any more awareness or any more, I would say skepticism about things that are going on. They're just, it's ridiculous in that sense. So we don't really care. We don't see that. We can't, develop with them, which is problematic. Whereas in the first one, when we're establishing these characters, we learn to really, really like them and enjoy them. Then, it's a bummer. This one, we're just counting the moments when they die. And the second problem is that inventive kills do not a successful slasher make. Yes, I will give it the cinematography is a little bit better because it's a little bit more engaging. There's good work as far as like light and shadow and as far as sound goes. I think there were some enjoyable moments there, but nonetheless, there's not enough here to salvage the movie beyond what it ostensibly, or to salvage it beyond what it, beyond its parts. It's exactly what we would expect to see. It doesn't, subvert the genre. It doesn't do anything different than its previous one did. Essentially, it kind of ends the exact same way, where the killer is dead, or supposedly dead. Other than, oh, hey, there's a twist. The killer's son was involved. So it's kind of like, Inventive is euphemism for contrived. Yeah, we could say contrived sarcasm. We absolutely could. We absolutely could say it was contrived. It definitely could have been more of a psychological horror than a straight slasher. Absolutely, Travis Brown. I just think they took the easy way out. This is what's problematic, because in the post-Scream landscape, I Know What You Did Last Summer worked because at that time in 1997 or 1996 when the original came out, I have to double check the date on that one. I think this one came out 2 years later. But in the post-Scream landscape, it was all about teens dealing with the situations. It kind of revamped it and added new kinds of moral dilemmas for people to deal with. With Scream, it was brilliantly done because it's about you never really know anyone. You don't know what's going on deep within somebody because you never really know anybody. How much can you really trust them? And putting that on the line where constantly every single person, anybody could be the killer, that's an important thing. So it basically is a look at identity and examines identity and a number of other individual subjective things that we never really took, people often took for granted, which is what made that one so smart. And this one, the first one, there was a fantastic moral dilemma. What do you do in this scenario? Sacrifice the rest of your life for something like this? Or do you do what Julie wanted to do and turn yourself in and, fall on your sword? Or do you go along with the group? So there's a lot of fantastic moral stuff in there. That's what set that one apart. Why I like I Know What You Did Last Summer. I do. The sequel, unfortunately, doesn't recapture any of that. It's just a revenge slasher. That's all it is. With a little twist in the end, and some really unnecessary shit. 97. Thank you, Travis Brown. Jack Black, unnecessary. Okay? Interesting kills. There were some decent kills that were through it. I mean, I get that, but decent kills don't just make a slasher film. Otherwise, it's just, kind of like, I'm sorry to say, and it sounds so fucking sexist. You're banking on Jennifer Love Hewitt's tits. You're banking on her hotness. You're banking on the popularity of Brandy, the up and coming stars of Mekhi Phifer. You throw in Esposito was, damn it, I fucking forgot her fucking name. Jennifer Esposito. Muse Watson is back to replay the Fisherman again. And then, you know, and then you got Jeffrey Combs, Benjamin Brown, John Hawkes is in there as well. And, no matter what, they threw a lot at it. And they spent a lot of money in order to try and ramp this thing up and kind of like capture the sequel of it. But just throwing money at a thing is not going to make it successful, which is why this thing dipped and probably why the third film in the franchise went direct to DVD. Because, you know, I'm sorry, I dig Muse Watson. I like what he brought it. Muse Watson is a horror icon. You know, he brought the Fisherman to life. But unfortunately, it's not a killer with staying power, unfortunately. Because one, it's human, it's a revenge thing, it's very, very simple. There's nothing overarching on this one. And they didn't introduce anything new to the overall plot. Same thing all over again. I think I have a sneeze. Sarcasm says the really big difference between the two films is that Geller can act and Hewitt can't. That's true. Sarah Michelle Gellar can act. She's a very talented actress. I think Jennifer Love Hewitt can act. I do. I think she's talented. I don't think she's given a lot to work with, is the problem. Is that Julie, even in the first film, Julie was written very one note. And then everyone else around her, actually, I'm sorry. Julie was written very one note. Her boyfriend, Ray, is also very one note. And Ryan Felipe and Sarah Michelle Gellar got the bulk of the meat, got the meatier parts, despite the fact that, you know, Sarah Michelle Gellar was not the final girl in that one. So I think they got more to work with. Unfortunately, despite all her talent, Jennifer Love Hewitt is not given enough to work with on this one. There's no internalization. There's just a character who is just who can't reconcile the situation. If you're gonna kill her, kill her. He's who's just upset about the situation, just railing against the circumstances, instead of doing like someone like Laurie Strode would do, or Sidney Prescott would do, or a number of other final girls. And that was engage it head on. Don't wait for it to happen to you. Actually take the situation on and try to solve it yourself, because no one else is coming to help you. That's the key. So, and I think that, you know, by virtue of the writing, it's not that Jennifer Love Hewitt failed it. It's that I think the writing failed her. And that the writing does not convey a final girl in the way that it should. Sarah Michelle Gellar would make a much better final girl, but never, because she was Buffy, never got the opportunity to be a final girl. She was always the victim, Scream 2 and in I Know What You Did Last Summer. So, Ghost Whisperers, Jennifer Love Hewitt's Ghost Whisperers Mad TV skit. That would be hilarious. Oh, Sir Cat says, apparently, Jail, you've never seen an episode of Ghost Whisperer. I have seen Ghost Whisperer. I liked her in that one. But then again, I was also a sucker for Medium. I like Patricia Arquette in Medium. I really do. I dug it. You know, it was cute. It was cute, fun time, you know? And I could sit here and watch the show and I enjoy it. And I watched it with my wife. Watched it with Angela. Watched it with my wife, Angela. We both enjoyed it. We dug it. I think I like Medium a little bit more. But ultimately, I'm not going to saddle Jennifer Love Hewitt with the bulk of the failure on this one. Predominantly, this goes down to the writing. Okay, they threw a lot of money at this, and they threw it in all the areas that they should not have thrown it into. It should have gone into the script. This thing desperately needed some fucking rewrites in order to try and conjure some semblance of character and character arc and character growth in this film, because it's just a fucking rehash of older shit. Yes, it's sleeker. It's more violent. There's more blood. There's more death. There's more bodies. There's, you know, horror icons, that they're thrown in there. There's hot people all over the place, because it's essentially like, you know, a CW horror film is basically what it is. And that's all it's got going for it, which sadly is not. I Know What You Did Last Summer, despite the length of the title, and it gets really, you know, tiresome saying that long thing out, but it could have had tremendous staying power. The original I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original one, was written by Kevin Williamson, if I remember correctly. Yes, screenplay by Kevin Williamson. That's why that works so well. So, because Kevin Williamson's always had a grasp on not only young teen drama, but also on narrative fiction and what makes what is compelling storytelling. You're going all the way back to Dawson's Creek and shit. When it came out that Wes Craven was working with Kevin Williamson to do Scream, fuck yes. Yeah, that was amazing. Unfortunately, none of the people who were involved in the first film returned for the second film, so that's why it dropped the ball so extensively. I was, yeah, it was kind of like, it's flashy. It's, it's that, but afterwards, no, I wouldn't expect it. That was the problem with this. And I think, the mentality wasn't there because it's a cash grab. That's all it is. It's 2 years after Scream came out. They dropped it way too fast. There was no development whatsoever. That's why the screenplay is essentially just a rehash of the first one. Just they took the events of the first one and stuck it on a fucking island and added one more character for no fucking reason. Whereas, you're trying to pull off that whole, like the Jerry O'Connell thing. This is what really bothered me. Scream 2 was fantastic. And Scream 2 was great. One of the great things about it was the relationship between Sydney and her boyfriend, played by Jerry O'Connell. So that notion, you don't know who to trust, and the fact that the boyfriend was the killer last time provides excellent organic drama in between the two of them. Because Sydney now is in face of the situation that we see when her boyfriend gets killed. Now all of a sudden it's kind of like, you trusted and it led you to a bad situation. The first film, you didn't trust and you lost someone again. So, and I love how that played like that. That was brilliant storytelling, and that doesn't happen here. Now it's just like they're essentially trying to copy what Scream 2 did by introducing the brand new boyfriend, brand new setting, new boyfriend, bring him on, to this, bring him along. Can we really trust him? He's brand new. So who do we know? Not great. Very, very weak. Very, very weakly done. And if you weren't able to suss out that the boyfriend was in on it, from about halfway through the film, before he turns and says, "Hey, Dad," it's like, come on, guys. It's like, if you weren't able to suss that out, you probably had fallen asleep during the movie, which I would not blame you for at all. I wouldn't at all. That was the biggest issue here. No staying power. With a killer, no staying power. Very, very lukewarm, very weak writing, very lazy writing. Easy choices, no risks taken, no character development, nothing for their actors to actually chew on. Talented actors here. Jennifer Esposito, very talented. Jack Black, phenomenally talented. Mekhi Phifer, excellently talented. Jennifer Love Hewitt, John Hawkes. Everybody in this is fantastic. Even Brandy's got some talent. She really does. Pretty much the same as Kelly Rowlands and Jason, and Jason versus Freddy, but nonetheless, a talented individual. Although I think that, Brandy starring in a movie about a character that hit somebody with her car and is kind of, that's aged very badly, but that's just me. I guess life imitating art. But nonetheless, I think it could have gone, it could have been so much better. There was so much potential here, given the amount of money that Mandalay was wanting to put into this film. And we ultimately just got a cheap ass cash grab that just, trying to milk whatever they could out of it. And it was just fucking bullshit. It was kind of annoying, it gets obnoxious. And the only the things you wind up waiting for are waiting for people to get smoked. When Jack Black got smoked, when Jennifer Esposito and the other dude, when they got smoked, when people just get killed. When John Hawkes, I will admit the John Hawkes kill was pretty fucking sick. When they're in the truck and he comes out there, bam, and rips him out of the window, that was pretty intense. You see it coming a mile away, because it's like, oh, there's somebody in the road. I want to go look at someone's road. Oh, it's like, come on, it's a fucking setup. It's like, that's what I'm talking about. These people don't fucking learn. You did not write for your characters to be skeptical of the situations. When the secondary characters are more skeptical of the scenario than your primary characters who already lived through it the first time, that is a bad sign. That is a bad sign that you do not care about what you're writing here. You're just trying to punch something out, which is really, really obnoxious. I see we have some new people pop in here. Dr. Nimrod, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you hanging out tonight, as well as some werewolf. Good to see you. Sally Skeleton, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much. Rodent, no last name. Gabba Gabba to you. Meta on top of meta. It absolutely is. And good to see you, Rodent. Thanks so much for being here. Dr. Nimrod has been a member of the Army of the Dead for 3 months. Thank you so much, Dr. Nimrod. We do appreciate that. That support helps so much. You have no idea. And if you'd like to be a member of the Army of the Dead, channel memberships are available at 99 cents a month. You can support us here, get access to all of the cool emojis that we have made for you. So all the cool little horror icon emojis are waiting for you to unlock them so they can run amok in the live chat. Dr. Nimrod says, how's the wife and doggos? They are doing fan-friggin-tastic. As a matter of fact, this total side note, because you're asking, our littlest one, not our youngest one, our littlest one, Torque, who's a little black-mouthed cur. He accidentally split his claw. He split one of his claws really, really badly down to the cuticle, almost to the quick. So we had to take him in. And he does not like people touching his feet. It freaks him out. We think it's from trauma from when he was younger because he's a rescue. So, like, because he has like one little torque foot that didn't heal right. It's like kind of kicked off to the side. Well, he split a claw on that. And then we had to, because we couldn't clip it because he was in pain and he was limping and favoring that foot, we had to take him into the vet. They had to sedate him. They had to muzzle him, and then when that didn't work, they had to sedate him because he was able to get the muzzle off. They had to sedate him to calm him down, put a towel over his head so they could finally get his claws taken care of. We think it's trauma. We're working through it. He's getting better. It takes time, but yeah, that was kind of a freak situation. But other than that, they're doing fantastic. Shotzi and Oso are doing fantastic. Let me see. Make sure I didn't miss anybody new coming in. Sir Cab says Ghost Whisperer equals Hallmark horror. Absolutely. Oh, Tony Regime says Ghost Whisperer relied far too much on JLH's cleavage. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that, Tony Regime. I would agree with that sentiment. They did rely a little too heavily on that. They didn't have to because Medium did not rely so much on did not do that with Patricia Arquette. Patricia Arquette is well endowed, but she's phenomenally talented. They did not have to rely on that. Plus, she was a mom. Had a great husband, great family life, and she was doing her thing. So I really enjoyed Medium a whole bunch. I really did. For as kind of like cheesy and, popcorny as it is, I enjoyed it. I've loved Patricia Arquette ever since True Romance, and then loved her in Stigmata. So of course I had to watch Medium. Of course I did. She's of the Arquette family. Absolutely. Oh, let me see. Yeah, but he's doing better. He's doing much better. He absolutely is. Oh, yeah, we're taking care of him. He's getting so friggin' spoiled. So absolutely spoiled. But yes, so my question tonight regarding I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, despite how much better this movie should have been, and it pretty much sits as an example in the post-Scream landscape of just, Scream-style cash grabs to try and just milk something out of a franchise, which is, ultimately kind of a waste of our time. We get why they do it. And it is a business, and it did make money. It did. It was a sequel to a popular horror movie, so of course it made money. But it obviously dropped off after that. I'll always know what you did last summer. Was the third film came out in it came out direct to DVD, and it was fucking that movie was fucking trash. You talk about like a movie, an unsalvageable film. He's like comes out, he's all fucking undead and shit. He's like, yeah, what the fuck, Eric? Then it took a turn into supernatural. It was like way overcorrected on that one. But of the two, and the third one, and the one season that came out on Amazon, yes, there was a season. There was a series. I Know What You Did Last Summer series that came out on Amazon Prime that was swiftly canceled after one season. We only because it was some people may be fans. I don't want to discount it. Some people may dig the series. They may dig the third one. They may dig the second one. They may dig the first one. That's my curiosity. That's my question. Which one in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise did you enjoy the most? Or did you think was the best? The first, the second, the third, the series on Amazon? I don't know. I don't know which one. Or did you not like any of them? I have no idea. I'm curious. I like the first one. The other one's kind of steep dive. But let me know down in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com which ones you dug. Yes, Droid Raven Dark Star, there was a third one. I'll always know what you did last summer. Yeah, but I sit with the first one. First one's my fave. But I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Or maybe you don't like any of them. Maybe I Know What You Did Last Summer was just a giant Scream rip and you were like, this is bullshit. And the only thing good about it was the cover, was the orgy cover at the beginning of the film. I have no idea. So then let me know. Rodin Last Name says, I prefer the prawn parody. I Know Who You Did Last Summer. Nice. Very nice. Like it. Travis Brown says, to be honest, I thought the first film was okay, but did not like more than the first Scream film. Right. Absolutely. Casey Cooper says, that's it, JL. Is that it? I hope that's not it. Oh, and Left-Handed Jay says, I've only seen the first one. You're good, mate. You are good. Good on you. Mr. Andrat's here. Says, evening, everyone. I'm way late. It's all good, bud. You didn't miss much. We just talked about one movie, and it wasn't even that great of a movie. We talked about why it failed and why it doesn't work and why it should have been, why it had the potential to be better. But studios, man, what are you going to do with them? What are you going to do? Oh, let me see. But definitely let us know. Very curious. Down in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com. Very curious about your opinions on that. Extra J is here. Good to see Extra J. Thanks so much for being here. Says, hey, y'all. Thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Oh, Case Cooper says, I was agreeing. I like none. None of them. Some people don't like any of them. But I'd love to see your thoughts in the comments. Let us know. I do know, John, this going out, John, you're my most you are our most dedicated commenter, and we do appreciate you, bud. We really do. You know who you are. Thank you so much, John. We do appreciate that. All right, let's move on to our next one, which I think has some good positive things about it. Okay, it does. There's a negative. There's a big, big negative, but I think there's some positive things about this one. So we'll dive into our second film tonight. November 15th, 1967, we saw the release of The Frozen Dead. Let's check out this trailer. Cue up the terror tube.
Aged a day, 20 years. But do you know that one has not survived? And 7 are mental cases.
Top war criminals frozen alive at the height of their power, waiting for the moment when science will free them from their icy tombs to take vengeance against the world. And that moment is now.
Is there anything you require? Yes. The impossible. A live brain.
Another victim sacrificed to feed the inhuman needs of the Frozen Dead. Starring Dana Andrews as the scientist who tries in vain to wash the blood from his hand.
Mad. All of you.
Network of murderers dedicated to a monstrous project.
Pretty much.
Beware the icy stare of the Frozen Dead.
Yes, that was the trailer for The Frozen Dead. Oh, apparently Sarcasm says my mom was 14. 14 that came out? Oh, Travis Bress is a good film for riff tracks. Possibly. So we have The Frozen Dead, which was written, directed, and produced by Herbert J. Leder. And, of course, starring Dana Andrews, Anna Palk, and Philip Gilbert. And the film follows a scientist who is specializing in cryogenics and kind of like revivification. And he is apparently working for the Nazis. Because, you can't go wrong with frozen Nazis. You can't go wrong with Nazis as enemies. And his goal is to assist these, the kind of like the reemergence of the Third Reich, essentially what it is, to defrost. They've been cryogenically frozen and to bring them back to their original state so that the Third Reich can march again, and take its revenge against the Allies for losing the war. And of course, things get absolutely batshit insane when people start disappearing because the doctor needs a fresh, live brain to work on. Well, the brain they get comes with some serious consequences because people come looking for her and things get really problematic. So, almost waiting for right, Javier. Almost waiting for it's alive. Absolutely. What was the year? 1967. 1967 was when this one came out. So. The fascinating. So one, the trailer was in black and white, but the film is available in color. You can watch it in color over on YouTube. It's available for free on YouTube, so you can enjoy it there. Now, the interesting, fun thing about this one is predominantly the entire tone of the film. First and foremost, let me get this one out of the way. This movie is fucking slow. It is fucking slow as shit. Okay? Very, very slow and way too much talky. There is a whole lot of exposition going on in this one. A whole lot of talking about science. Now, one thing I will give it, writing-wise, Herbert J. Leder did fairly well in conveying that because a lot of the science that was going on was based on actual things that were taking place back in the late 60s. So when they make reference to that Russian guy that actually, severed the head of a dog and kept it alive, by transplanting it to the body of something. When they make that's something that happened. So they reference actual science. Some of the stuff is from what people knew then. Some of the stuff really kind of held. There were interesting hypotheses and, things, at the time that they were kind of working off of. And they make mention that you can't just freeze somebody and then just bring them back as normal because you'll get cellular degradation. So they reflect the science well. Herbert J. Leder did extremely well. And if you look at the history of his films, he had a wonderful track record in ensuring that the science that he was conveying in movies like Fiend Without a Face, and The Candyman, 9 Miles to Noon, when you look at that, he is always really, really smart and really, really, or he tries to reflect science as capably as he can. So he doesn't try to like make shit up on the fly. It's not like Star Trek or like that where they're just making it, where they're doing like, making up technobabble in order to try and get things across. He literally tries to ground it in some real shit. Totally, we know now it's all bullshit. It's all like, fringe science and just, a lot of it's impossible, but he tries to do it. Now, it does kind of go into a kind of, obviously, the sci-fi realm with the severed head that's still alive and like that. But the one thing I dug about this one is that despite the fact that it is so fucking slow, so impossibly slow, is that the set pieces are fucking beautiful, especially if you get to watch them in color. Putting together a classic set like that, that's the wonderful thing about this one is classic effects and classic, techno set pieces. Back in those days, assembling a set pretty much came about of finding anything you can find that elicits that kind of science fiction-y, is that science-y or science fiction-y vibe, and putting them together and just wiring them together. Everything on there works and is wired to work and to function in some way because you have to convey that. There is no After Effects. There's not to the degree that we have now. You could do color correction. You could change the stuff up. You can add in Foleys to add sound effects that the sounds that weren't there or were not possible. But for the visual appeal, especially working around a laboratory like that, you got to have shit that looks functional and people can interact with and actually do stuff, which I really, really love. That kind of set construction, that kind of dedication to that, to creating that visual element takes a lot of fucking work. And that was just, I loved getting that kind of like, being reminded of that back in those days of the efforts that went into creating these kinds of pieces. You look at the set of what's going on, all the consoles, all those lights, all those levers, doing something over here, the trigger something over here, then opening up this panel over like sliding away panels. And you see the frozen guys in there and, getting all that done. That's all practical effects and it all looks fantastic. Now in color, the makeup looks funky. But you don't really get the effect of the frozen effects in black and white. You kind of get the sense that it's cold, but the color definitely adds a lot more to it because they're all like blue and frozen and shit, and you get that. And so I really enjoyed that aspect. The level of it, the attention to detail that went into creating these things is really fantastic, and I love that. I love that attention to detail. Unlike some other films where they just kind of like throw garbage together, and you can tell because they didn't have time and they didn't have money. But in this one, you can see they really did. So some fantastic set work in there. I love looking at old classic set pieces, especially when they use old giant houses and architecture. You see that with old Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff stuff. So I really enjoyed that part to it. I did enjoy that the writing was solid. The writing was solid. It was just long and plotting about. But those moments are broken up by some really fantastic stuff. So I will say the stuff with the head. And that classic kind of magic trick where you have the person at the table, they put their head through, and then there's the mirrors so that you can't see through. It looks like you can see through it, and so it looks like just a head. I love little tricks like that. You got the head; it's all blue, and you got the plastic dome with the brain in it, like that. All that setup is just, I thought that was cool as shit, and I imagine back in 1967 that looked really fucking freaky. Then you have one of my favorite, and I have to say my favorite was the arm with all the walls. And the way they did that edit was so smooth. I dug that when he's looking at the arms of the walls. Then he turns around and goes around to the backside. There's nobody there. There's they're not there. There's just the wires and the tubes leading into the arms to activate him, to keep him alive and stuff. And they have pulses and stuff. But you go on the other side, and it's obviously people sticking their arms through the wall like that. I loved that sequence. And then you go, when shit goes crazy, the arms freak out. That was fun shit. There's a lot of little fun moments in this one. A lot of little fun moments, a lot of fantastic set pieces, a lot of good, classic practical effects. where it's all about camera angles, it's all about sleight of hand, it's all about mirrors, it's all about setting it up so that you see what we want you to see and you don't see, and we basically distract you away from what, or we what's the word I'm looking for? Misdirection, where we misdirect you away from what we don't want you to see. That's what's fun about this one. All these little moments, plus all the classic like strangle. Everybody dies by getting strangled back then. It's like hands around the neck, and it's just terrible. So I really thoroughly enjoyed this one. I dug this one. Not to mention a little something I found out after the fact. Fucking what's his name? Son of a bitch. I can't the actor's name. I've lost my mind. The dude who was I totally forgot it. I gotta look it up real quick. So in 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out, and the actor in this one, I can't remember his freaking name. What the hell was his name? Alan Tilvern. Alan Tilvern was in The Frozen Dead. Alan Tilvern played Carl Essen, played the German guy who was kind of like futzing about and kind of free. I was like, I tried to do my best. He was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He was R.K. Maroon in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I thought was hilarious. So, but I thought everybody did well. Everybody played their characters well, and it's a decent movie to look at as far as that, but it may be a little too plotting for a lot of people. But that was kind of the notion, the kind of thing that hinders this film, although it was the direction a lot of films in the 50s and the 60s took, was this is kind of a grounded and slow glimpse into post-war film mentality. In that time, the worst enemy, obviously in the 1950s and the 1960s, the worst possible enemy you could think of obviously would be like, the Nazis, the Third Reich. And using them as a villain for virtually, you could just slap Nazi on it and automatically you've already told the entire story. So, but in this one, you get the sense that even how to put it, I very much got the sense in this one, like it's almost like we've dined out on this trope a little too much. That even at that point, it's true. Cindy Sue brings up the communists in the 50s and the 60s. And that's what I think it was, is that at the time, writing and bringing in Nazis and making them the de facto baddies in the late 60s, I think it was getting a little bit too worn out. And I understand it, because nowadays typically they're either bad guys, they're either like throwaway bad guys, or they're comic bad guys. The silly goofiness of like Nazis are just bumbling idiots and they deserve to be destroyed, or deserve to be finished or whatever. So there's a different the way those the way those villains are portrayed nowadays is a bit different from back then. But at this point, I think because of the rise of communism, and then you bring this one in, you bring the German social, the Third Reich in, you bring that in. I don't know how many of these words I can say before like YouTube gets mad at me. I have no idea, because I'm trying to pick and choose so I don't constantly say over and over and over and over again, because I don't know what'll happen. I don't want to get shut down. I don't want somebody to get mad at me. Why is he talking about Nazis all night long? Post-war film was intriguing because film, literature, virtually everything was so influenced by the advent of by the events of World War II, and it was so embedded in the zeitgeist that it pretty much just like, so Travis Spencer, Indiana Jones is the Nazi villain, right? Is that I think it was a bit worn at that time, and now we're just looking for reasons to make movies where to like justify a movie by putting Nazis in and making them the bad guy, because everybody wants to see bad things happen to Nazis. So it kind of like wore on that a little too much. The movie in no way glorifies any of this stuff. The Doctor himself understands like the implications, but he's more about the science. I am all about the science. I don't care who I'm working for, as long as you fund me, I'll do the science. So it's kind of science is the bad guy as well as, Nazis are the bad guy. It just doesn't really have anywhere to go from there, And I think it was. Say socialist workers. I could say, could I say socialist workers? I'm not really sure. Post-war baddies? I like that, Sydney Sue. The post-war baddies? I really do. Just refer to them as the N-word. I should be fine. Thanks, Extra J. Appreciate that. So, those... I just read it to my head. No, I'm not going to do that. It's terrible. Also, Dead Snow. As an easy, timely bad guy. Yes, Nazis are an easy, timely bad guy, especially in 1967. But other things were coming to the fore, is the big thing. With the 1950s and the advent of, we've talked about this extensively on the show, with the advent of nuclear power, you've got the big monster movies, the radiated monster movies, giant bugs, whatever. You got those like, Beginning of the End, Them. And then, of course, you've got over in Japan, you've got the Godzilla films that are coming out, Godzilla and Mothra and Godzilla and Rodan. And then, of course, you've got, fucking communists. You've got communisms, which brings in the whole kind of like, subversive thriller shit. You've got more interesting things that are going on. And I think what happened with The Frozen Dead is it kind of snuck in there, kind of like almost a forced. We're going to tell this story about a mad science, bringing bad guys back to life. What bad guys work the best? Nazis. And I think it shows in the writing. The writing's it's a bit on the stale side. And it's also really, really slow. But I would say if you do check this one out, it's for free on YouTube. And with kind of an interest for the history of filmmaking in and of itself, you can check all the very, very cool things that they did in the film to kind of bring this set to life, which I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the movie stuff, not all the plotting, unnecessary shit, unnecessary exposition that, we could have, all of that could have been trimmed up. It could have been trimmed up so much better and make a bit more a tighter film, and maybe even spend a little bit more money on some more interesting effects. I did like the end of it, when she comes in and she unveils the head and the head's like, oh, bury me. I dig that. I mean, there were some fantastic shots in this one. I really dug it, but ultimately it doesn't really go anywhere, which is kind of a problem. It just kind of like, at the end, it just kind of like sums up and just falls off, like a severed head. It was just kind of a bummer on that. I expected more, and I had an idea in my head of where it was going to go, and it kind of delivered, but not well. I definitely think it could have been better. Now, I know in retrospect, a lot of people have not been very kind to The Frozen Dead. I think that there's a couple of interesting things from a historical perspective to take away from this. I really, really do. I think it's definitely informs us about where mentalities were at that time period. I think it's fantastic for seeing how films were made, seeing all the effort that went into making these things. But otherwise, there were better options. Not definitely not Leader's best film, not his strongest. I think it definitely could have been better, but otherwise, I think a lot of people are going to be kind of turned away by this one just because the writing is so plotting and so slow. There's just way too much talky for a mad scientist resurrecting Nazis. That sounds like that should be Money in the Bank. Mad scientist on secluded island resurrects frozen zombies for the Third Reich to regain their revenge. That should be Money in the Bank. That print money. Everybody would line up to see that. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I think he just wasted too much time. I think Leader may have wasted too much time trying to be smart, rather than trying to be entertaining, which is why, pretty much it. I think that's the issue there. I really, really do. So, but I do have to ask, what this got me thinking about, despite all the kind of little fun things that are going on with this. Hey, Strange Lex 790, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here tonight. I want to ask the audience, I want to ask you guys, what is the best horror film with Nazis? Because there are many. And Nazis make a fantastic go-to bad guy. They're the post-war baddies. I like that, post-war baddies. And there are so many out there. But I'm curious as to what you think is the best. Because I've got my own ideas of what I think is the best one, the best use of Nazis in a horror film. I think there are some really, really good ones. You got like Nazi women of the Nazi werewolf women of the S, or Nazi werewolf women of the SS and shit like that. But I'm very curious. Let us know down in the comments below or at weekinhorror@gmail.com. What do you think the best horror film with Nazis in it is? I see a lot of love for Dead Snow. Oh, wrote another name. Oh, Sound of Music. Fuck yeah. Good job, bro. Wrote another name. Absolutely. A lot of love for Dead Snow. I love Dead Snow. Dead Snow was fantastic. Dead Snow 2 was also fantastic. I love bringing the Russians into that. That was badass. So Dead Snow, I hope we get a third one in that franchise because they set it up. I hope we get it. But a lot of love for Dead Snow. But there's a bunch of them out there. I'm curious what y'all think is the best. Definitely let us know down in the comments below or at weekinhorror@gmail.com. All right. Make sure I didn't miss something here. Ooh, Angel Rivera with The Keep. Fuck yes. Hell yes. I see that. Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Nice. Casey Cooper says The Madmen of Mandoris. Very cool. Getting a nice obscure one there. Travis Brown says, any of the Three Stooges wartime shorts. Well, those horror? They could be horror. I mean, in some respects. The Keep is such a good choice. Keep is fantastic. Oh, I fucking love that movie. Absolutely. All right. Blood Vessel was good. Yes, Strange Like 790. Yes, Blood Vessel about the Nazis looted the castle, brought the caskets on board the ship, containing vampires. Stuff. Blood Vessel was fantastic. I really enjoyed Blood Vessel. That was a good one. Really, really good stuff. All right. So, let's move on to our next one. We're going to go over to Italy for this one. Italian film. Released November 18th, 1980. Oh, the year I was born. So, 1980. The Strain. Strain was good. Castle Wolfenstein. That's nice. November 18th, 1980, we have Nightmare City. Let's check out this trailer.
You're not gonna leave me, are you, Ash? Are you?
I don't want to die. You're not gonna leave me here, are you? Are you, Ash?
Top of the news this evening is speculation concerning the real facts behind the Department of Health announcement about a radioactive spill supposed to have occurred yesterday at the state nuclear plant. Information from an official source, which reached our newsroom this afternoon, stresses the seriousness of the situation.
Mr. Miller, something very serious has happened at the airport. But until we conclude our investigation and take the necessary countermeasures, nothing is going to leak out. Nothing.
This individual and others like him have been subjected to strong doses of atomic radiation, which increase their physical capacities beyond the norm. In short, it's a kind of a Superman. This is Channel 5 TV station. We're being attacked. For God's sakes, send somebody fast.
God help.
Dubbing not great. Effects really good, pretty good. All right, that was the trailer for Nightmare City, and we got some things to talk about this one. So, Nightmare City, directed by the legendary Umberto Lenzi, and written by Piero Regnoli, Tony Corti, and Jose Luis Delgado, starring Hugo Stiglitz. I still can't get over the fact that Quentin Tarantino used that name for one of his characters in Inglourious Basterds. Laura Trotter, Maria Rosario Omaggio, and Mel Ferrer. So the film follows pretty much what you saw in the trailer. It follows an American reporter who is reporting, was supposed to do an interview with a scientist after basically a nuclear accident at a nearby power plant. And this unmarked, C-130 lands into the airport, and the doors open, and these atomic monsters come out. They're like these souped up, speaking of radiation, thank you, Case Cooper, speaking of radiation, these fuckers pop out, and these blood-drinking ghouls come out. So they start like murdering everybody and then drinking everyone's blood, and it just spreads and goes fucking crazy. And Dean, the American reporter, has to get to his wife and escape the chaos and try to escape. And I'm going to leave it there, but because we're going to dive into it here in a second, because the ending kind of pissed me off a little bit. Leanne says, JL, I love your old TV set you used for the trailers. Nice work. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That was a nightmare of a trailer. Jeremy Duncan, good to see you, Jeremy. Thanks so much for being here, bud. Strange Like 7 says, I was 7 when this came out. My brothers terrified me with this one. They told me it was real. Oh, that's wild. That's kind of fucked up. That's kind of fucked up. Oh, yes, I'm a kid. Yes, 1980, I'm a kid. So this one is, okay, I was excited about this one because Nightmare City is often lauded as one of Umberto Lenzi's more prolific films, or I guess one of his more notorious films. My problem with this one is that, and I'm sure that a lot of people will point this one out almost immediately, is that Nightmare City is a rip of The Crazies. So The Crazies came out a number of years before this, Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news, apparently. The SAG strike is over. Congratulations to SAG. I don't know what the circumstance of it is. I don't know if they got what they wanted or if there was a compromise, but the SAG strike is over. Actors can go back to work. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Wrote No Last Name, for bringing us that breaking news. Yep. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. My pleasure, Ivy. I'm glad you enjoyed I'm glad y'all enjoyed the channel switching. I'm glad y'all dig that. I'm glad that was that one y'all. I'm very pleased. I'm very happy that y'all enjoy that new addition to the Terror 2. Definitely. So, essentially, like I was saying, Nightmare City is essentially the thing that stuck out to me the most. It's essentially the rip on the crazies. That was the first big thing that kind of like stuck out to me, is that Lenzi took the idea of the crazies and just brought it over and did it in Italy. That's pretty much all it is. Like an accident takes place, people are infected, they spread it to other people, they go nuts. So it's almost it's kind of a combination between the crazies and because these are not zombies. They can use weapons, they can talk to one another, they can coordinate, and they're running around just murdering everybody. They look like they're fucking melting and shit. But they can spread it to other people, to the people that they kill. So they can spread that like a virus, but it's not really a virus because it's atomic. So it's a combination of like Dawn of the Dead and the crazies is kind of what it is. The crazies, but with radiation, with radiation virus. I have no fucking clue. So it's not explained at all, but we don't need it explained. That's kind of the key on that one. But immediately I thought this is kind of a rip on the crazies. The crazies came out 7 years before this, 1973. And that was a fantastic Romero work, a commentary on the military-industrial complex. Lenzi does not do that. Lenzi just kind of like takes that premise and kind of runs with it. No commentary whatsoever. It's pretty much just a survival horror film where Dean and his wife are trying to outrun the hordes till they try an atomic virus. There we go. To where they try to escape. So that was the first big kicker. And the other one was that I was kind of like, well, holy shit. Chuck Hogan actually used this same intro, the plane landing and the monsters in it, or the bad thing on the plane. So opening the plane is the worst thing you can do. I didn't realize, Chuck Hogan used it for The Strain. So if you remember that one, that was essentially how The Strain started. Plane lands, everyone's dead, open it up, the zombies, the vampires come out and they release all the bad stuff there. So, or they take the bodies off, then the bodies wake up as vampires, they go home and they start killing everyone. So that's pretty much The Strain. So The Strain kind of lifted off of Nightmare City. Chuck Hogan lifted, from Nightmare City, and Nightmare City kind of lifted from George Romero, which is kind of a shame, kind of like I don't know, kind of reduced a little bit for me. It's not a bad film. Nightmare City is not terrible. It's pretty much straightforward. I didn't see the dubbed version like you saw the trailer. The trailer was dubbed. I saw the subtitled one. I thought the subtitled one was pretty decent. Visually, it's really, really good. It's fantastic. I thought that the effects were on par with a lot of other Italian horror at the film, or a lot of other Italian horror at the time. And pretty much, it's Lenzi pushing the envelope. I can get why in 1980 it was the extreme, but we're talking about Umberto Lenzi, who is the guy who did Cannibal Ferox. So it's not. That's why I don't consider this to be one of his more notorious films. I get why it maybe freaked people out, and why he was like, because it was pretty gruesome. There's a lot, plus there's a lot of blood drinking shit in there. But there's a lot of that, like motherfuckers getting stabbed like violently in this one. There's a lot of violent murder in this one. A lot of gore, like it's pretty fucking hardcore with like virtually anything you can get your hands on. And the bad guys pretty much have to be dropped to like two or three shots to the head. The same with the guy shoots his wife, in her studio, turns around, she's infected. Then he shoots her twice in the head, the back of her head blows off. I thought that was that was well done. That was pretty, because it was like the angle on that was sick. It was kind of like, pow, it's like, bam, back of her skull just pow, blows off. See, there was good stuff like that in that. Really, really good stuff. Like the scene where she's getting stabbed in the face, like that. They did a lot of like the neck cutting and everything. And a lot of the effects were decent. They really were. And the melty face makeup. I get that, yeah. It was easier to apply. You could apply it and you didn't have to worry about shaping. You didn't have to worry about that. Just the more goopy and gross you could, the more frightening and more horrific you can make them, especially if they were all like burnt and crispy and just gooey and stuff. Really, really gross stuff. But I enjoyed it. I dug it. Really, some really excellent set pieces, some really excellent special effects work. I love the sequence in the when they blow up the fucking car with the Molotov cocktail and everybody goes everywhere. So there was some fantastic stuff going on in the film, but ultimately doesn't really it doesn't really go anywhere, which is I think was what happened. I think honestly, in my opinion, this is Umberto Lenzi's like laziest film in my eyes, where it was kind of like I need to put a movie out. And so he kind of like ran with something that had already been kind of established and took some elements from other directors, from other successful directors, and just kind of ran with this one. If you look at the background leading up to its production, it was kind of like a film was needed to be made. And we have a kind of idea and we need to get one on the books. So let's go ahead and make one. And even like when when it released, what was it? Lenzi himself felt the film wasn't a zombie film, but more of a radiation sickness film with hints of anti-nuclear and anti-military message. But he did not accomplish that like Romero did. I could see he may have tried to, but they didn't spend enough time on that. They spend way more time with the people trying to survive. And then you have the whole like little subplot of the people that are out there camping. And they send some officers to go get them, but then the officers get infected on the way out there. And then, the officers come out and they're infected, and then they kill them. That was a pointless subplot. That was unnecessary. So ultimately, it's kind of like, there was so much possibly going for it, which I kind of dug, but not enough to go in any real direction. So I don't want to give this, Lenzi credit. Lenzi's a fantastic director. I love his fucking work. He's done. His work speaks for itself. Man from the Deep River, the Gallo films that he did, the stuff that he adapted. There was some fantastic shit in there. Not to mention fucking Cannibal Ferox, fucking Ghost House and Nightmare Beach, and the guy's filmography is amazing. This, unfortunately, I do not think was his best film. I don't. I think that this one was kind of like it was inspired, but it doesn't go anywhere. Is the problem? And then, of course, don't get me started. I have to get me started because, the ending. That's what kind of solidified it for me. The ending was the cop-out ending. Okay? Because, there's some great tension building up. They're running from them. They're in the amusement park, and it's like overrun with these crazy, radiation sickness zombies like that. And they climb up there and they get the ladder and they're going up, and there's like this, and she's ahead of him, and I can't hold on. Despite the fact that there are big ass knots that are in the rope that she could just hold on to those knots without having to climb. And then it's like, and then the helicopter's going and they're getting higher and higher. And she's like, I can't hold on. And then she just like jumps off and she like falls off the rope. But like her husband's below her. And so she just, and then I will admit that was pretty hilarious when the body's like, bam, and it hits the Ferris wheel, like boom, 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 and bounces off all the fucking wheels and smashes on the ground. And then he wakes up and it's a dream. That was annoying. I was like, really? A dream? Oh, but it's not a dream. He wakes up. I had this terrible dream. And then he's going to meet the scientist that day. So he gets there to the airport to meet the scientist for the interview, and then the C-130 Hercules comes flying in and lands. He's like, this seems vaguely familiar. I've seen this before. Basically the start of the movie. And then the credits. The nightmare becomes real. I felt that was a giant fucking cop-out. I was like, that's the cop-out ending where we've been through the film. It was all a dream, but it was a prophetic dream or whatever. That was obnoxious. I was like, that was a cop out, which led me to the conclusion that Lenzi was just trying to get a movie done. That the film that was written was essentially just kind of like, let's grab this, and let's get this done so we can make some money and move on to something else that we want to make. And so Sarcasm says, I feel like, so Sarcasm brings up an interesting point. I feel like this movie is the reason Umberto is not mentioned in Gallo history with the likes of Bava and Argento, and Dario Argento. I would agree. I absolutely would agree. Is that while he did good stuff, and he did in some areas push the envelope, Cannibal Ferox is legendary, up there with Cannibal Holocaust. Man from the Deep River. That's fantastic shit. As far as the Italian cannibal films, Lenzi is legend. But in this particular one, I wish he'd done something a little bit. He had the talent. And because the talent is there, the instincts are there, the budget is definitely there. Shooting with an actual C-130, shooting on location at the airport, shooting in all these, all these places they were shooting, TV studio, amusement park, all these things. So many dead, dead zombie things, like running around, like all this violence, all the special effects. And this was the kind of story they were able to churn out? No. Which really kind of just aggravated me quite a bit. I was like, it was a waste. I felt it was kind of a waste. It's an entertaining popcorn film that, unfortunately, at the end of it kind of annoyed me because because I was really annoyed that we spent all this time leading up to this moment for this sudden cop-out ending, which I thought I've seen Lenzi's work. I don't think him to be a disingenuous director. I've seen the works of the other individuals who wrote this thing, and I don't consider them to be, lazy writers. Piero Regnoli was a fantastic screenwriter, but this one just kind of So you kind of have to put two and two together. All this amazing talent, subpar, barely inspired, kind of half-working movie that cops out at the end. Yeah, there's got to be something more at play here, and I'm willing to bet it was backer money behind it, or it was studio, whoever was behind it. It's hard to say at this point. Likely, it may have been Dialci Films, it may have been Lotus. It's hard to say, but ultimately, I think there was interesting premise and had a lot of promise, but doesn't bring it across the field because I don't think it was ever intended to. I was thinking let's just kind of do this. That's what it was. I felt like watching this after watching April Fool's Day. That's how I felt. It was like watching April Fool's Day again and getting that same expectation. You get all this build up to this moment, and then what happened on April Fool's Day? That's kind of how I felt in this one. A bit of a cop-out. We're trying to be new, or trying to be edgy or whatever. Hey, it was all a dream. But was it all a dream? Leave that stuff back in the 30s and the 40s, where, ambiguous endings are fine. Ambiguous ending is great. Even if it was fantastic, like he loses his wife, she drops down and dies. The helicopter's flying away, and he's hanging on the rope, and he's like, "Oh, my wife!" And then he looks down, and it zooms in on her, and her body's there, and it's all like blood's going all over the place. And then she looks up, because she's infected. Duh! And that would have been a great ending. Could have ended it right there. Because now it's like, what's he going to do? He lost his wife, but he's escaped. But what is there to live for? Because he lost the love of his life. He went through all this stuff. That's a good ending. And yes, Sir Kevin says we can't have them all die at the end. It's too bleak. I think that would have been good. That would have been the way to go with that one. Maybe even like a shot, like closing shot. He's like, and then she's like, and then she stands up and she watches the helicopter fly away. And she's like, and the helicopter, and then it opens up the like the helicopter disappearing into the horizon, and he's like, whatever. And then of course it just fades to black. I think that would have been fantastic. That would have been a much better ending than the cop out that we got, which is just kind of annoying. And I'm sorry. And even come on, 1980, we got movies like fucking Demons. Okay, we got Suspiria. Okay, we got a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of other fucking Italian horror films that were like, oh, but this is Italian gallo shit, fucking bleak as fuck. Everybody gets the bad ending. I can't remember a gallo film or a fucking Italian horror film where there was a good ending. It's either the villain or whatever gets its revenge, or somebody escapes, but it's like fucking it's like fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, who will survive and what will be left of them. That's where Italian horror went, where it's not always rainbows and sunshine at the end of the day. Sometimes it's fucking bleak as fuck. Sometimes it's like a post-apocalyptic. It's like, you saw this, it's gonna get worse, and credits. Which I thought so much, this would have gone so much better if he just leaned into it instead of giving us that cop-out ending, which really kind of just annoyed me. I was immediately envisioning, it's like, no, man, you have him hanging on that and looking down at what he lost and looking forward where the hell you're looking forward to the future, but what's worth it in the future because she's down there down on the ground, and then really have it sit there, and then she stands up and she's infected, and she's like, she like looks up at him and she's like, and he's like, oh, is it her? Did she survive? Oh, I don't know. And then that would have been great. That's just me. That's just yeah. Sarcasm's live rewrite number 3. Yeah, I'd say I would have rewrote the ending of this motherfucker all day long. Otherwise, if you dig gore, if you dig that melty classic Italian gross special effects, if you dig that kind of shit, like fucking The Crazies, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, if you dig that kind of shit, you'll dig this movie. But be prepped for that ending because it's kind of like, whatever. It could have been better. Think of my ending when you watch this film. Nonetheless, there are just better Lenzi films that you could go with. They're just better Umberto Lenzi films that you could sit with. I dare you watch Cannibal Ferox. I really do. We talked about that Cannibal Ferox way early, I think back in season 1 of the show. And that one, I remember Alex had a pretty visceral reaction to Cannibal Ferox when that came out. So when we sat down and watched that one, Cannibal Ferox is fucking brutal as shit. You think Cannibal Holocaust as well? You could do a double feature on that one. I don't think you'll eat for a week. I'll just throw that out there. But yeah, Nightmare City, not bad, not terrible. Just not Lenzi's best. Not a hallmark of what made him a fantastic, legendary Italian director. And it's probably, and I think Sarcasm's right. I think it's the reason why Argento and Bava and a number of others get so much more credit than he does. I really do. So, but my question for the audience tonight is, because Lenzi, this is not the only horror film that Lenzi ever did. I am very curious. What do y'all think is the best Umberto Lenzi horror film? The best in his entire filmography. He has many, many films. So I'm very curious what you think is his best. Because, man, he had a bunch. Lots of really good ones. Lots of really gnarly horror films. But yeah, I'm very curious. What do you think is Umberto Lenzi's best horror film? Let me know down in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com. Of course, here in the live chat as well. So let me know. I'm very curious to hear. I loved Cannibal Ferox. In fact, I think Cannibal Ferox is his best, but he's got a bunch of other ones that people may dig. Italian horror, so many places you can go with that. Absolutely. All right. Some people may dig Ghost House, Iron Master, Eaten Alive. Eaten Alive was a good one. Like Nightmare City's one thing, but Eaten Alive, man. Eaten Alive was that movie's fucked up, So many good ones. So many good ones. Let's move on to our last one. And I am brewing up something hardcore down below because I'm about to dump it on this one. I absolutely am. So, released November 18th, 2008, we have the Zombie Diaries. Man, I wish Johnny was here because his take would be fantastic. Let's cue up the terror tube.
Stated that incidents in Asia were isolated cases.
United Kingdom's preparation for a pandemic has been severely criticised in the press, with official figures grossly underestimating the spread of infection.
This morning, they've completely sealed off the area. Shit. But they had to do it. There have been a lot of deaths. Deaths?
All the news bulletins, they're telling people to avoid London.
Should I ask what you people are doing out here with that thing?
I don't know. I can't see shit.
Out in the woods at this time.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Like my kind of film.
Get the fucking flash out of my eyes. You're completely washing me out.
Jesus Christ. Oh! Make it out here! Jesus. What is it? We got trouble. Get from those fucking fields.
Come on, that review came from eatmybrains.com.
The car started.
Right, fucking shoot it!
It'd be helpful if you could see anything.
No! No, you stay away from me!
Anna, what's going on?
Yes, that was the trailer for the Zombie Diaries. And I have to agree with Travis. Travis Brown says this makes Diary of the Dead better. And I would say this makes Diary of the Dead look like Survival of the Dead. It's like this movie is okay. Nonetheless, let's do this breakdown real quick. This unfortunate breakdown. The Zombie Diaries, British independent found footage film, directed by Kevin Gates and Michael Bartlett, which may be part of the problem there. Written by Kevin Gates and Michael Bartlett, which may be part of the problem there. Starring Russell Jones, Sophia Ellis, James Fisher, and a host of individuals who probably I don't think have who have like worked a lot. I know that a lot of the cast that there were a couple of like people that appeared in EastEnders, which were probably popularly known. So I think like Leonard Fenton was in it. So, but nonetheless, wow, where to actually fucking begin with this movie? So, first and foremost, one of the biggest problems, obviously, with found footage is, stabilization. It's like really, really fucking, I don't care if found footage is okay, but stabilization is a major problem. If you try to go the Blair Witch route, I understand that, but Blair Witch managed to equally, the smart thing about that film is that it managed to balance the frenetic shaky cam with some stabilized moments, which was very, very good. We can't do the all fucking night long. That's just annoying. Number two, they shot this thing digitally, and of course, a lot of it was done outside to try to convey this environment where there is no electricity. So when you're shooting at night and there's no electricity that you can access, and you're lighting everything via your cameras, you get really, really fucking dark shit. And a lot of the times, you can't see what the fuck is going on, which really goddamn annoying because zombie films are supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be scary at night. This was not scary at all. Well, because I can't see what the fuck is going on. That's the second like worst thing about this is like it's like if you can't see any action, the sounds don't make a difference. Number three, the sound is absolutely atrocious. People are either too far away or they're too fucking close to the camera, which I get makes sense in a realistic sense because if this was really happening, you're not shooting a movie, so you're going to get that effect. But unfortunately, it is a movie. So when you're in a theater and you're watching the shit or you're watching it on television and people's volumes are like down here, like and people's way up too high, way too high all the time, that gets really obnoxious and it takes you out of the movie. Nothing about this film fucking works. Nothing. The haphazard way that they are stitched together in order to create a kind of cohesive narrative, even though it's dropping different like time periods, and then it like references back to the first, and the girl that was there is like the girl that's tied up. It's fucking ridiculous. It's threadbare. Nothing is earned. All the little moments that we get, we don't earn them, and everything is so tightly shot. Like the framing is so tight on every single fucking moment of action that we don't get to see it all. And every time everything is wide out, nothing's happening. And then not to mention they're the worst fucking zombies ever. I mean, these fucking zombies make like Walking Dead zombies look like Dawn of the Dead zombies. It's like just why are you shooting them? Take out your knife and fucking stab them to death. Just they're not even. These aren't even fucking lungers. They're not doing that. Boring fucking zombies. Terrible effects work. Terrible makeup work. Terrible fucking camera work. Terrible fucking lighting. Terrible fucking sound. Threadbare narrative. Absolute, unmitigated, unsalvageable garbage. Which is why I kind of miss Johnny O being here. Because Johnny O would have a lot to say. Or he might not. He may just say, it stinks, and just move on with his life. Which I know is what I wanted to do after I got done watching this movie. The fucked up thing, and I'll get chastised for this, the first time I watched it, I kind of got distracted by other shit, because it's like, what's going on here? Check my phone, check my email, check my schedule. And then I had to watch it twice, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'll give the credit. I'll give the film at least that. I had to watch the movie 2 times just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And Leon Richards says, well, wow, is there anything good about it? No. There is nothing good about the Zombie Diaries. It fails so extraordinarily because I understand that while shooting digital, shooting outdoors, shooting on location is expensive. I get that. There are definitely budgetary constraints here. I get why things are dark, because when you're extremely limited on budget, your special effects are not going to cut the mustard. They're not going to cut the zombie. Okay, your special effects are not going to decapitate the zombie, which is why all of the setups are also dark, because they're hiding what doesn't work. And I get that. Things are framed tightly because you get the frenetic energy, but that's artificial. You're artificially generating energy when you know there's nothing really going on in the wide. So that's why they frame everything so tightly. The washing out of when they're using flashlights and the flashlight blares and it washes everything out completely, that's terrible. You don't do that. Don't take a flashlight, put it near the camera, shine it up here, and then blare everything out with that hot ass halogen. No, have the flashlight. You can have it on. Okay, you can dim it. You can make it dim by putting things on the lens to reduce that light, and then light it from the back with a directional light in order to convey that, and then time that so that when they flick it off, you can flick it off if it happens to go out. You can do that. But don't do your direct lighting with a flashlight directly in there when there's no ambient light to cut that edge, because it's also harsh, and it's so harsh because it's the only light in the shot that everything is going to focus on that. It's going to eat up everything. So the camera's going to eat up all that light and it's going to wash everything out. And then when you cut away, the camera has to adjust, just like your eyes are adjusting. And then you miss something that's supposed to happen. And then the slow reveals are all like, why are you holding the camera like this? This makes no fucking sense. Everything is done in it. I understand why some like review sites would say that this movie tries to make it as real as possible. The problem is, in reality, you're like a lot of these situations, you're not carrying a camera on all the time. But if you were, obviously you'd have these problems. This because in reality, you're not shooting a movie. You cannot shoot a movie, try to make it real, and then do things that take us out of the fucking movie. That's what's problematic. Not to mention the writing was fucking terrible. The writing, the lines, I felt like half of this shit was fucking ad-libbed and kind of like thrown together. The soldiers look terrible. Uniforms not complete. You know, their strategies, their tactics. 28 Days Later did it so much fucking better. But that's because that's Danny Boyle, and Danny Boyle knows what the fuck he's doing. These guys, you could definitely tell as it moves from chapter to chapter, or like moves to like time segment, you can tell immediately the differentiation in directorial styles and writing styles of both Kevin Gates and Michael Bartlett. Each one has their own inspirations, each one has their own vision, and these two things do not line up. That's why it feels like literally you can tell two like different like visions going on, two different interpretations, two different arts, two different styles throughout the film. And they're kind of interspersed with one another, which is really like, you know, tonally is fucked up because it's got like two different voices, you know, competing, and not great. Not great, whether it came to the writing or how the actors were conveying that writing, where it came to the set, what was going on with the actors in the set, what was going on with the zombies. Just inconsistent across the board. That's what killed this thing for me. You know, even there are movies I've seen that did all these. Hey, Fred Edges, good to see you. Says Judge, just dropping in to say hi. Thanks so much, Fred Edges. Appreciate you being here, bud. Apparently, I just got demonetized for telling the truth. Apparently, I did. Oh, you said the FYT bad word? FYT? Oh, truth? Uh-oh. Telling the truth. Sir Cap says, jail is not a glutton for punishment. He's a sadist that doesn't warn us in advance not to watch the deplorable films. I will never give you warning. If I got to watch them, you got to watch them. That's the way it goes around here at Week in Horror. If I got to watch these fuckers, you got to watch them too. You have the option. I don't force you to do it. I just give you the posters. I just give you the posters in the community tab. That's it. Yes, I did watch it twice to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I realized at the end of the second viewing, I didn't miss shit. And I didn't miss shit on this one, which was really fucking obnoxious, because the second time I was really trying to pay attention. I was like, I got to pay attention to this movie, make sure I don't miss shit. Yeah, this is a problem when you have too many cooks in the kitchen. This is a problem when you don't have enough money, when you don't know what to do with your money. This is amateurish work at best. I have seen college productions that do it far, far better. obviously, for some fucking reason, there was a Zombie Diaries 2. I don't know why, but there was. And which is even worse than this one. World of the Dead, the Zombie Diaries 2, which was fucking trash, released directly, I think, direct to DVD, and was just absolutely terrible. And they didn't even get the actress from the first film to come back and reprise the role. They had to recast it. Yeah, there was nothing to miss in this one. It's just terrible. Tony Regime says, Dog Soldiers did soldiers better. Shaun of the Dead did zombies better. Exactly. Yes, absolutely. So that was predominantly what it was. And I've seen movies that have less than what this film had to work with, and have turned out far, far better. Because guess what? No matter what your budget is, you can at least write your dialogue better. That's the killer, is that the dialogue is crap. Yes, you can write a threadbare script where your little set pieces are like one sentence. Okay, fuck it. Standing in field. Okay, that's great. We're standing in field. That's fantastic. That'll work from this one. That'll work. But if your dialogue sucks ass, I don't know what the fuck you think is going to happen this fucking, it almost, I would say, like predictive text generated zombie dialogue, or like zombie apocalypse dialogue. People pointing out shit that's fucking obvious. People doing incredibly stupid things for terrible justifications. People arguing over incessant shit. People are like, even the bad, because that every group in a zombie film has that one dude who's always a fucking asshole, and he's going to get people killed. Having characters recognize that guy is the asshole, and he's acting like this, he's going to eventually get people killed, and then not doing anything about it. That's fucking obnoxious. Don't do that. Because now you just set yourself up. Just not smart writing. Not smart writing. Yeah, better off doing a silent movie. That would have worked. So, not smart writing. Not smart filmmaking. I don't know why it got a fucking sequel. I really fucking don't. Gates and Bartlett were behind it as well. The movie was even worse. And that one was fucking picked up by Dimension. Just like, this, I don't fucking know. That was disturbing to me, is that I guess, at this time in the, what was it? In the it's what Eugene said. Mid-2000s horror films. Absolute shit. I don't think they all were, but there were a lot of them, because the move to digital made for cheaper film. You could shoot this movie. What was it? Somebody brought up the budget on this motherfucker was 8,100 pounds in 2006. Yeah, that's a 8,100 pounds, and of course, we didn't see a U.S. release until 2 years later. But yeah, 8,100 pounds. In 2006 or 2005 when they shot this fucking thing, that has a lot more spending power than it is today. I can assure you that. And they did this with that. What the fuck? I mean, come on. Just to throw it out there, you guys saw Nail Gun, right? Got a bug. Sorry. You guys saw Nail Gun, right? The short that we shot? Remember that? Stomp the head, nail gun in the face, decapitated head, set people on fire, nail gun in the dick. You guys remember that, right? If I remember correctly, the budget on that was $6,000. It was like $6,000 to shoot that thing. I mean, come on. And this is a full feature. Full feature. And I mean, that's what's fucking killing me. Yeah, Ronald says Dementia was thinking under 20K and found footage is in. We struck gold. Yep. The second one had a budget of 1.5 million. It's unconscionable to me. I don't get it, Tesla. I do not get it at all. It's fucking weird. I don't know. Fred Edge says, have you done a breakdown of Wormwood? Yes, we did do a breakdown of Wormwood. We did talk about Wormwood, Road to the Apocalypse, last season. We talked about the last season, one of my absolute favorite fucking zombie films. Australian zombie film, absolutely fucking amazing. Raven Darkstar says, haven't seen Nail Gun, sorry. Well, we showed it a number of times in the Discord. Look for that notification because we want you to see it. It was the first short production that we produced here via Week in Horror. Whereas Eugene, Johnny, I wrote it. Eugene directed. Johnny had a small starring part in it. It's good shit. Gory, graphic, hardcore, but, for a short, not bad. It won Best Picture at the Rack Focus Film Festival in 2021. So, really pleased about that. Or 2020. 2021, one of those. So, really, really good stuff. Oh, man. But yeah, Zombie Diaries, unfortunately, not where it's at. Just fucking abysmal. Just absolute trash of a fucking film and a waste of goddamn time. I'm so glad that I got to sit and watch this thing twice. Have a good night, Dr. Nimrod. Good to see you, bud. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Nail to the dick. Yep, nail to the dick. Absolutely. So, this movie fails spectacularly on a number of things. We talked about it extensively. I don't think I need to talk about it anymore because the movie's fucking garbage. Case in point, you want me to see something going on? You gotta fucking show me. Put some fucking lights in there. And do it right. Fucking crazy. All right, so the question I want to ask the audience, and this may be a tough one, maybe it's not. Hey, Elizabeth S., good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. This is not the only found footage zombie film that's out there. There are many found footage zombie films that are out there. Because obviously, when you're recording a camera and the zombies are going on, that's perfect. That's like found footage gold. It really is. Apparently Dimension thinks so. So what do you think has been the best found footage zombie film? There may not be many to choose from, but obviously one of them is better than all the rest. Maybe. I'm curious. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but definitely let us know. Down in the comments below if you happen to know a zombie horror film, a found footage zombie horror film that you liked, that was good. Maybe you'll give us a recommendation for something I haven't seen yet. So let us know down in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com. Bam! Joshua Lee's already got one. Wreck! Yes! Wreck was good. Wreck was fucking great. Absolutely was. Thank you for that. Yes, thank you very much for that. Got that taste, that foul fucking zombie taste out of my mouth. Absolutely. Appreciate that, Joshua Lee. Ending of Dawn of the Dead. That was fun stuff. That was really good. Yeah, in the credits. Yeah, that was fan. That was back before Zack Snyder kind of swallowed his own hype. Absolutely. All right. But yes, definitely let us know down in the comments below at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Well, you know what time it is because we've gotten to that time. It's Raven Darkstar's favorite time of the night. It is trivia time. Fuck yes, it is trivia time. All right, so the time that y'all have been waiting for. So many people, like a bunch of people in the live chat right now. This is the time that y'all been waiting for. Is the time that we give away free shit just, for testing your horror knowledge. So here we go. Get those Google fingers ready because the first person to get the correct answer to this question in the live chat will get a special item, a mystery item from the Week in Horror store at Teespring. Teespring finally got their shit back together, and all the previous winners should be getting your stuff here very, very soon. Let me know when it arrives. And by the way, if you win something from Week in Horror, throw a picture of it up in the Discord because we have the show off your swag there channel. So let us know if you get your t-shirts or if you get your pint glasses or your stickers or whatever. Let us know because I'd like to see it, especially if you get like the new puzzle, like the shit gets real puzzle. Fucking great. I can't wait to have that assembled so I can put it up in my background. But here is tonight's trivia question. Get those Google fingers ready. Ahem. Ahem. Special effects artist Kevin Yeager got his start in the industry working on what legendary horror icon? Special effects artist Kevin Yeager got his start in the industry working on what legendary horror icon? First person to get the correct answer down in the live chat below wins a special item or a mystery item from the Week in Horror store. And if you're curious, Kevin Yeager worked on Nightmare City. Was it Nightmare City? Yeah. Or no, was it? I still know what you did last summer. One of those previous films. I can't fucking remember. Let me see what we got. Oh, there it is. Sherry Tilly got it quick. Yes. Special effects artist Kevin Yeager got his start in the industry working on Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. Yes, that was Jason. That's where Kevin Yeager got his start. But then he made his name when he worked on Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. That cool fucking slick-ass, gnarly look that Freddy had in Part 2, that was all Kevin Yeager's work. So, fantastic shit. But Kevin Yeager got his start working on Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. with Jason Voorhees. Congratulations, Sherry Tilley. Let me get your name down. I got my pen right over here. Sherry Tilley, congratulations. We're going to get that printed and shipped to you ASAP. Well done. What were some other ones? Chucky, no. Unfortunately, Sarcasm. Sleepy Hollow, no. Freddy Krueger, that was the second one, Tony. That was the second one. But he got started on Friday the 13th. But very close. But yeah, he did some fantastic work in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Fantastic. That the look of Freddy in that one looked amazing. Not to mention, like, when he comes out of him and you remember, you know what I'm talking about. Just great shit. Congratulations again, Sherry Tilley. Thank you so much. We're gonna get that printed and shipped to you ASAP. All right, horror fiends. You know what that means. That's going to conclude another episode of the Week in Horror podcast. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We truly hope that you enjoyed the show. And if you did, please smash that like and subscribe button. And be sure to hit that bell for notification, that bell, so you never miss a future episode. I can't fucking talk right now. I'm just totally spent. That last movie kind of took it out of me. Join us next week when we look back at the Julian Sands-led horror Tale of a Vampire, rat-infested madness in Of Unknown Origin, the fairy tale horror Rumpelstiltskin, and the indie zombie horror The Dead Next Door. I promise it's better than Zombie Diaries. Be sure to check out Josh Olsen's store at badsamurai.store. He does all the awesome artwork. He's splattered all over our merchandise here over at Teespring. And for more from Week in Horror, check out all of the links that are down in the description. Follow us on the socials for the Daily Splatter, your daily horror recommendation. Join our Discord for watch parties, big announcements, all kinds of horror shenanigans, and support the show through channel memberships here with the Army of the Dead, Super Chats, PayPal, or even through our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. A new feature we've added for anyone who joins our Patreon. Whenever we do a production here at Week in Horror, you get your name in the credits. We've added that in as a perk. So check that out. What are you waiting for? Join us. And as always, thank you all so much. Solo shows are always so funky. You never know what's going to happen. So thank you all for being the greatest audience a horror film podcast could possibly have. I am JL. Love to all of you. And as always, I'll see you next week. Stay scared.